Well, good morning and welcome to the Felicia Lockhart Show. I'm so glad you decided to tune in with me today because you could have been anywhere else for the next 3 minutes, but you decided to spend it with me. Today, I want to talk about the importance of knowing those who labor among you. This can be taken in so many different directions, but I want to speak specifically about the importance of understanding that everyone has a past. When you're doing business with someone, the importance of knowing and understanding where this person came from, what their ideology comes from, and how they move in the world today means everything with the business relationship, physical relationship, or marital relationship. Now, you all know my story. You all know the situation that I had marrying a couple of 2 or 3 times and having some bad situations. But I want to tell you that I truly and honestly believe that if I had known some of the things in the background of the people that I had been dealing with in my life, I would have had a much better time. If we were living in the times where all the technology is going on right now, back then, back in the 80s or whatnot, oh my God, there's no telling where I would have been. If I were able to just go online, plug in a person's name, plug in their date of birth, and plug in the city that they came from back in the 80s, child, I would have been a superstar by now because I truly and honestly believe I would not have made some of the choices that I did. But knowing those that labor among us or who are around us is so imperative. We could be as a single woman with children, out here in the world attempting to date, trying to find love as well as raise our kids and take care of our job and do all those things. We could be taking home a rapist. We could be taking home a sex offender. We could be taking home a sex offender who happens to be a child molester right into our homes. And as we know right now today, there have been situations exactly like that. I want to encourage both men and women right now to take the opportunity to look into the history of the people that we've decided to bring close to us. It will mean a world of difference. Listen, if it's just $4.95 a month to a company that can do a little research for us, if it's just going down to the local police department and paying the $5, trying to figure out this guy that you just met and why all of a sudden he's so interested in you when other guys wouldn't have been, and you've got 4 kids and you're trying to figure it all out. If it just takes you taking 15 minutes out of your time to make sure that all of your assets, your children, your home, everything about you is protected, isn't it worth it? I say the same thing for men because a lot of times I see men who get involved with women. I knew a very good guy. And if this technology that we had right now was available back in 1983, my friend would probably still be alive. I had a very good friend who was in a group of us. Back then, we were just friends. You know what I mean? It wasn't like it is now today with the friends with benefits. But this guy was a really cool guy. He was an engineer. He lived with his mom, but he was an engineer. He had some money. He owned some property. But he was just a laid back guy. He got involved with a woman in the group that we all knew was married. But the story she gave him on the pillow was totally different. She told him about a terrible relationship, a husband who was beating her, a husband who was treating her like trash, a husband who failed to provide for the kids. She played the entire victim role. She told him that she got pregnant, but we all knew that there was no way that could happen because, well, with her 5th child and her husband, she had her tubes tied. He believed that she was pregnant. She told him she got a divorce. She told him she was going to get a divorce and marry him and that they were going to have their baby and live happily ever after because she told him she got pregnant. But we knew it couldn't be. He found out later that this lady had been lying to him. He found out through her that she had an abortion. That's what he thought. We're sitting here looking at each other like, no, player, she didn't get an abortion. She couldn't have got pregnant. Her tubes are tied, but he wouldn't believe any of us. But he found out through her that she had an abortion. Not 2 weeks later, my friend put a gun to his head and killed himself. All because he believed a lie. Now, some would say that he was not stable. Some would say that he had problems. Some would say all of that. And you know what? I don't know the psychology of a person who does that. So I'm venturing to say you just might be right. My point is, if we had this technology then, my friend would probably still be alive because he would have discovered a great deal of scams that she was running in her past that we all knew about. All the girls in the group knew about it, but we could not impress it upon him enough to believe us. I believe that when people see stuff in print, they change their mind about a lot of stuff. So it's important for us now that we do have this technology to know those that labor among us, to know those that are trying to get close to us, to understand their past. I know a lot of people say, well, the past is the past and has nothing to do with today. Yeah, but the past is what shapes us. It's what makes us. It's how we move. It's relative. It is a very relative statement. I heard somebody say the other night while I was listening to a live, and they made a comment that $650,000 wasn't a lot of money. It's not a lot of money if you're used to having, $800,000, $1 million go through your hands. $650,000 is a drop in the bucket. So it's relative, right? A person's past is relative to how they move and how they maneuver today. This is Felicia Lockhart. It's just some food for thought. Thank you so very much for tuning in. Have a great